presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Minnesota.
The Twins begin a new week and a new series. Tonight it's the start of 3 against the Chicago White Sox at Target Field. The Twins are 3.5 games behind Kansas City in the AL Central, and it has been a struggle for Chicago, losing 8 of the last 10 and bringing up the rear right now in the division. Good evening and welcome to Target Field. I'm Marnie Gellner. The Twins had such a home field advantage in the month of May, and they're trying to recapture that this week. After this series, the Twins won't be back at Target Field until July 8th. We look at the series set up now against these White Sox from Minnesota. The Twins will try to finish strong on the homestand. So far, they're 3-2 in games against the Cardinals and the Cubs here at Target Field, hoping for a winning homestand when all is said and done. The starters have been the story over the last 8, producing a 2.65 ERA, and that very much includes tonight's starter Tommy Milone, who retired 16 of his last 17 in his last start. Chicago has been struggling. The White Sox have lost 8 of 10, and they are 10 games back in the division. And this might be the best team that the Twins could see right now. Dick Bremer and Burt Blyleven in the head-to-head matchup. It has tilted in favor of the Twins lately.
Yeah, the Twins have struggled to score runs in the month of June, so who better to face now than the Chicago White Sox, because run scoring has not been a problem when the Twins have hit against the Chicago pitching.
No, they really haven't, especially tonight's starter, John Danks, but they will see Chris Sale. They will see Zamarza over the next couple days, but here tonight it's John Danks against Tommy Milone, and hopefully Milone is on like he was earlier against the White Sox, and right now, you know what? Against Danks, it's the Twins who have scored a lot of runs. But against the Sox over the last 7 ballgames, you see 45 runs scored and a very good earned run average. So they're doing the right things to be 6-1 against Chicago.
Well, we just showed you that the Twins starting rotation has been outstanding, 5th in the American League in ERA. Tommy Milone, a big part of that. Started out okay, then had a couple of disappointing starts. Spent some time in Rochester, but now is pitching very well.
Yeah, he went down to Rochester with a purpose. 4-0, only allowed 1 run in 35 innings, and then when he came back, he's done a very good job. For Milone, it's all about changing speeds. All 4 corners. Not an overpowering fastball. He has to keep it down like that. And then gets ahead in the count. He'll get good hitters to chase that breaking ball like he did against the Cardinals.
Again, the Twins would like to get back into the routine of winning series. They have a chance to make this a winning homestand, a 5-3 homestand, if they can simply take 2 out of 3 from the White Sox. We've got the opening game coming up in a moment. Fox Sports North is presented by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. By Dodge. Come discover great deals during the Dodge Drive and Discover event. By Bud Light. Stay in the game and drink responsibly. And by Luther Nissan Kia. 2 locations, 1 very low price. The Twins started this 8-game homestand with a pair of impressive playoff-style wins against the Cardinals, and then they won the opener with the Cubs. Then the Twins ran into some very good starting pitching from the Chicago side. First John Lester, and then Jake Arrieta yesterday. Twins weren't able to get much done offensively, and they still hope to win at least a couple out of this 3-game series, end up at least with a 5-3 homestand before they head out on the road.
Yeah, they have struggled in June. The Twins in the month of June are 7-13, and offensively for the Twins, not scoring a lot of runs, just averaging 2.8, but they are facing a club for the next 3 days that almost have the same type of problem the Twins have, you know, in the month of June. The White Sox are 7-12 in the month of June. And they, too, have had a tough time scoring runs.
Last in the league in runs scored and last in the American League Central, yet Robin Ventura can afford a smile. This is the start of a critical road trip, many believe, for the White Sox. 3 games here, and then 4 games in Detroit, then a couple of games in St. Louis. So they need to start playing much better than they have at any point this year. The White Sox batting order brought to you by Menards. Adam Eaton leading things off. Avisaíl Garcia, Jose Abreu, Melky Cabrera. Big difference. Adam LaRoche, Alexei Ramirez, Gordon Beckham, Giovanni Soto doing the catching and batting 8th, and then Carlos Sanchez.
And for the second time this season, it'll be Tommy Milone making a start against the White Sox. Back in Chicago, he made a start against the White Sox, got some early run support, worked 7 2/3 innings of shutout baseball, only allowed 2 hits, and in his career, this is his 6th start against the White Sox, 2-0 with a 1.39 earned run average in his first 5 starts.
Northland Ford defense for the Twins. Eddie Rosario in left, Byron Buxton in center, Torrey Hunter in right. Bloof, Nunez, Dozier, Mauer, the infielders, Suzuki behind the plate. The White Sox won that opening series in Chicago 2-1. Since then, the Twins have won 6 of 7, including a 4-game sweep here, where the Twins outscored the White Sox 31-8. Adam Eaton to get things started. He'll be followed by Garcia and Abreu. Foul back on the first pitch.
Yeah, we'll show you a lot of numbers from the White Sox, not having type of years that they normally have. Eaton last year hit 300 in his first season with the White Sox. Comes into this at bat hitting 242. Guy you want to keep off the bases. Guy that likes to run a lot.
This one hit to right. Hunter tracking it. 1 away. And that'll bring up Garcia. Twins have done a good job pitching to a lot of the Chicago batters, principally Jose Abreu. He would be the guy of which you would say before a series, we don't want this guy to beat us, and Abreu hitting just 162 against the Twins. But then there is Garcia, who is hitting 13 for 26 against the Twins this year. Swing and a miss. No home runs, though. 3 runs batted in, but a .500 batting average nonetheless.
Yeah, Garcia, of course, the Twins saw him with the Tigers when he first came up in 2012. Now in his 3rd season with Chicago.
One knuckles its way out to center field, and Buxton retrieves it on a couple of hops. Another hit for Garcia with 1 out in the first. That'll bring up Abreu. Beautiful weather expected for tonight's game, tomorrow night's game, Wednesday afternoon's game, and here are the umpires who will work the series. Adrian Johnson has the plate tonight. Bill Miller at first, Doug Eddings at second, Jim Wolf at third. Abreu with just 6 hits in 37 at bats, 1 home run against the Twins. And Malone with a cutter over the inside corner.
Hey, he did a good job against Abreu back in April. He did walk Abreu, but Abreu 0 for 4. The only 2 hits that Tommy Milone allowed back in April was a bunt single to Micah Johnson and a double to Tyler Flowers. That was it.
Johnson's no longer with the team, and Flowers isn't catching today. 1-1.
Hasn't been a lot of power behind Abreu, so a lot of clubs are kind of pitching around this guy.
Foul tip, 1-2.
Which puts more pressure on Abreu. He's going up there wanting to hit the long ball. 50 times he has struck out already in 250 at-bats. Does have 12 home runs. He's driven in 40.
1-2. Just missed the inside corner.
Well, that's a good pitch right there, and that's where Tommy Milone tried to pitch Abreu in April. Hard in. Don't let him extend his arms. Adrian Johnson behind the plate. That's a pitch that hopefully they will continue to throw and don't give up on. And Suzuki going back inside again.
Foul back. The Twins have pitched Abreu inside a lot. I think they've seen, or at least last year, saw his power to the opposite field if you leave it out over the plate.
Well, we saw Milone do so well in his last start against the Cardinals, is exactly what he's trying to do Abreu here. Then he'll drop that slow curveball just on the other side of home plate, and he ended up picking up 5 strikeouts.
In the dirt.
That's the changeup right there.
Suzuki was set up outside, and Milone delivered it low. Full count. Abreu, a big strikeout guy. We don't know whether Garcia will take off from first base here. 3-2 to Abreu.
Yeah, Milone, very good move.
Just barely getting back is Garcia.
And Milone already has a couple pickoffs this year, 13 career pickoffs, and Garcia not a base stealer, just getting that hand back on the bag before Joe can apply a tag on that right elbow.
You know, one of the reasons I think Malone's got a good pickoff move, he doesn't throw over there much. When he throws over, it's with a purpose. Chopper foul. You know, when we've had pitchers here, you see them all the time. They'll throw over a lot. They'll never pick anybody off. They might discourage the running game, but Milone, usually if he throws over there, he's trying to get an out.
Well, left-handers have the advantage because they can pick that right knee up and just hold it for a split second, and that stops the runner from maybe saying, okay, I'm going on first movement. You could do that with a right-hander out there. I'm going on first movement once that right heel picks up or the left heel goes toward home. But Milone very good at holding on runners.
Popped up weakly toward Dozier, who had to run over behind Mauer to make the catch. 2 down.
And another good pitch right there by Tommy Milone. He stayed in on Abreu, and it just tied him up to where he couldn't get the big part of the bat out to make good contact.
And now Melky Cabrera hitting behind Abreu, even though he only has 1 home run this year.
Let's take a look at the last pitch right here. Again, going inside with that little cutter, and you can see where it hits on the bat. More of the flat part, the skinny part, than the big thick part of the bat.
Around the trademark. Here's Cabrera, had a 5-hit game yesterday. Strike 1. Getting his season average up to 250. He's hitting just 172 as a right-handed batter. And maybe the fact that he's the cleanup hitter today tells you all you need to know about how the White Sox have struggled to score runs.
And he's one of the guys that the White Sox invested a lot of money in over the winter to make this club better. It just has not panned out yet.
10 hits, 40 at bats against the Twins this year.
Abreu signing a 3-year contract over the winter worth about $42 million.
See,
2017.
He has really struggled against lefties. 1-1. Swing and a miss on the changeup.
That's a good changeup right there. It's not only, you know, we saw Gibson yesterday throw the changeup with some drop, but Milone has almost like a screwball type changeup. It'll start away and then just keep drifting away from a right-handed hitter. Malone, 28 years old, in his second season with the Twins. Came over last year from the Oakland A's in the Sam Fold trade.
1-2. There goes Garcia, and the pitch popped up. Bauer in foul ground, looks to have room. Staggers a bit, makes the catch. 3 fly ball outs, a harmless single, and a scoreless first for Tommy Malone. No score, top of the first inning for the White Sox, and now Byron Buxton in the leadoff spot takes down and in, ball 1.
He's facing left-handed starter John Danks.
Buxton hitting 9th his first week in the big leagues. 3 hits, including his first target field hit in the ball game yesterday. Outside now 2-0. Paul Molitor didn't want to get everybody too excited. He said this would be just a 1-game experiment to see how it goes, and if it goes well, might come back with it again tomorrow. 2-0, and Buxton to right center field, down for a hit, and he's got a double.
Well, we saw some of the speed right there by Buxton. My goodness. Yeah, Garcia did a good job of cutting it off. I was hoping that ball would get by him and we get to see Buxton run all the way to third. But that ball inside out, fastball in off of Danks. Buxton picking up his first major league double. And watch Garcia cut it off. Does a good job, and then wheels, throws, good throw, but Buxton and his speed. He tackled second base right there.
I was going to say, that's a pretty hard head first slide to second base. Well, here's Brian Dozier with Buxton in the leadoff spot tonight. Dozier drops down a spot. And if you're John Danks, subconsciously, you got to be thinking, oh, great, now they got another player up who can hit.
I mean, look at those long strides right there. And even though he looked like he slipped a little bit, that head first slide gets in safely.
1-0 to Dozier.
What'd that take? 2 seconds?
Swing and miss, 1-1.
Danks, like Malone, has a very good changeup. Now, he has not enjoyed pitching here at Target Field. 9 major league starts here at Target Field. He's 2-6 with an ERA at 7.92. And there's, of course, his overall record not good, so there are some Twin batters that have had success against him.
A base hit to left. Buxton will come around and score, and the Twins jump out early, and so far this new lineup looks pretty good.
Well, Dozier picking up his 33rd RBI. And a speedy Buxton over the head of Beckham at third base. Brian Dozier's line drive.
Everybody on the left side of the White Sox infield pointing to Cabrera. Throw it to second. Throw it to second. They knew they had no chance at Buxton. And now here's Mauer. 60 at bats against Danks. 23 hits. He's hitting nearly 400 against him. Strike over the inside corner.
I think there are ballparks that every pitcher, and Danks has been around a long time. This is his 9th season with the White Sox, that you really don't look forward to going to. And not to say that this ballpark here, Target Field, and also the Metrodome when the Twins were there, are a couple fields he didn't enjoy going to.
Speed pitch, and Mauer lifted it foul over by the tarp. 2 strikes.
Danks making his 14th start, his second against the Twins. His first start came here on May 3rd and lost 13-7 to Mike Pelfrey. Worked into the 3rd inning. It was Trevor Plouffe that hit a grand slam off of him in the 3rd inning. That 7-run 3rd inning.
0-2 to Mauer. Inside with a fastball.
Danks, 30 years old. Came up with the White Sox in 2007. Made his major league debut against the Twins in Chicago. Lost that ball game 3-1 to Johan Santana.
Dozier with a great jump. There'll be no throw. Soto bobbled it. He had no chance. Dozier got a really good read on Danks and stole second easily.
And Danks, one of those left-handers, usually a very good move. He has 28 career pickoffs, but Dozier read him perfectly, and Soto, even though he dropped the ball, had no chance. So Dozier steals his 6th base of the year in 8 tries.
I love this. Here we are in the 1st inning. A couple of dirty uniforms already. Buxton's all scoring a run, sliding into second. He's all grimy, and now ground ball, and Dozier thought about going to 3rd. He'll hold up at 2nd, and a nice job by Dozier realizing where the shortstop was playing behind him with the shift.
You're absolutely right.
1 down. Here's the Twins batting order. It has Buxton on top, then Dozier, then Mauer. Hunter hitting cleanup. Plouffe 5th, Rosario 6th, Suzuki, Vargas, and Nunez. You know, we were talking a little bit about that in the media session today with the shifting and everything. Players have to be much more active in peering around the infield.
Yeah, to be alert.
And I suspect even pitchers do too. This one dribbled up the middle. Nice pickup by Sanchez, and he throws Hunter out.
Wow, what a great play by the youngster at second base, Sanchez.
He ended up over by Beckham at 3rd base.
Watch this right here. I mean, on the run, off balance throw, still able to get it over to Abreu with something on it to get Hunter out.
Northland Ford defense for the White Sox with veterans Cabrera in left, Eaton in center, Garcia in right, Beckham, Ramirez, Sanchez, and Abreu. Soto getting the duties behind the plate.
Yeah, going back to your point, here's Trevor Plouffe, who hit a grand slam against Danks back in early May. But to your point right there, you know, it's usually runners at second base. You'll look where the outfielders are. Now you also have to look where the infielders are.
That is picked up in foul ground with Plouffe trying to drop a bunt in front of Beckham to bring Dozier home. 1 strike. Pitchers have to do that too. I mean, more often than not, it seems like there's a middle infielder playing near second base, and I'm sure there are pitchers out there who, you know, are aware of that, and rather than trying to deflect a ground ball or whatever, if you know you got an infielder there, just let it go to him.
Right.
How many times this year have we seen pitchers, even though they're the best athetes on the team, trying to
glad you said that.
trying to make a fielding play, and it hits the glove and dribbles into the infield, and it's an infield hit.
Right, and there's somebody right behind him.
1-1. Bloof takes a strike, 1-2. Twins are 16-10 against left-handed starting pitchers this year. And they actually have a losing record now against right-handed starters. 1-2. And he came inside on Plouffe. He's got a foul ball off the trademark.
Danks right now, he's gone through the shoulder surgery a couple years ago, but he'll top out at 90 to 92 range. Very good changeup. He'll mix in a curveball, a little cut fastball.
Popped up to right field. Garcia makes the catch. The Twins start the inning with a pair of hits and get the game's first run. LaRoche swings on the first offering from Tommy Milone. One strike. It'll be LaRoche, Alexei Ramirez, and Gordon Beckham.
Yeah, LaRoche, another one of those that they paid a lot of money for. A 2-year contract worth $25 million that really hasn't done much yet. Hitting only .221.
And a strike taken. 0-2.
Struggling mightily against left-handed pitchers. LaRoche hitting just .192. And see Trevor Plouffe move over toward the second base position.
Robin Ventura giving Adrian Johnson some heat already from the Chicago dugout. 0-2. That's hit to left center field. Buxton will field it on the second hop. LaRoche has a leadoff single. Let's go to Marnie Gellner.
Guys, we know kids in baseball is a pretty good combination, and tonight Fox Sports North is proud to welcome Hope Kids to the game tonight as part of Fox Sports' Young Fans Week. Fox Sports Fan Express buses are helping take over 1,000 kids to games in partnership with our regional sports networks across the country. How about that for a way to arrive at a baseball game? Hope Kids provides ongoing events like these for children with cancer and other life-threatening medical conditions. And Dick and Bert, the message from Hope Kids is that hope can be a powerful medicine, and we are thrilled to have some of these kids with us at the ballpark tonight.
They deserve first-class treatment. Thank you, Marty.
Big swing and a miss by Ramirez, 1 strike. They couldn't have picked a better night to come. We had some heavy rain here in the Twin Cities this morning, but it cleared late in the morning. It's just a spectacular evening for baseball. Popped up again to the right side. Dozier now on the outfield grass, 1 away. White Sox scuffling. We told you they're last in the American League in runs scored, particularly as of late. They've hit just 190 over their last 8 games. And it's been hard to figure out because run scoring was going to be the least of this team's concerns with the addition of Melky Cabrera. Another year of seasoning for Adam Eaton. Abreu, they figured, would do at least what he did last year in his Rookie of the Year season.
Yeah, they come into this ball game hitting only .237. Only the Seattle Mariners have a lower team batting average.
Missing inside, ball 1 to Beckham. Beckham hit a walk-off home run in the 11th inning yesterday. White Sox have won a couple of 1-run games. They've actually been involved in 5 straight 1-run games. A strike over the inside corner.
Yeah, most games decided by 1 run so far this year. Chicago White Sox 25 1-run games, and they are 13-12.
Inside, 2-1.
Beckham has a new role here in Chicago. He played second base for about 5+ years, and then he was traded over to the Angels last year. He came back, and now he's more of a utility type player. Against left-handers, he'll play third base. Connor Gillespie will probably be in the lineup tomorrow with a right-hander for the Twins starting.
3-1 to Beckham. Fouled away, now 3-2. For Malone, of course, he pitched that great game in Chicago, then won his second start against the White Sox. Didn't last 6 innings, gave up 3 earned runs, but nevertheless was 2-0. Then a couple of starts where things just didn't go very well. 9 earned runs in 9 2/3 innings. The Twins sent him to Rochester in the Twins' best month they've had in quite some time. Malone didn't throw 1 pitch for the big league team. Fouled back. But then they called him back in early June, and he's actually been a part of this wonderful run of pitching the Twins have had. In 3 prior June starts, 1-0 with a 2.37 ERA.
Yeah, his last 2 starts, quality starts. He's worked 7 innings in Texas and then 7 innings here against the Cardinals, only allowing 14 innings, only 3 earned runs.
Now the 3-2 to Beckham. And a high pop-up. Malone keeping the infielders busy.
Adding and subtracting. Good little changeup right there on 3-2 creates the pop-up.
And we'll bring up Soto with LaRoche still at first. Brian Dozier and the Twins invite you to Dozier's Deck 2015. It's a special offer, including a Skyline deck seat for the game on Saturday, August 29th, when the Twins take on the Houston Astros, plus a limited edition Brian Dozier Blaze Orange t-shirt. A portion of the proceeds will benefit Pheasants Forever. Take advantage of this special offer, available exclusively by logging on to twinsbaseball.com/Dozier's Deck. One of the reasons I'm tickled that Dozier signed a long-term deal with the Twins. He is an outdoorsman. He loves fishing and hunting, and the Blaze Orange promotion pretty suitable for him.
I like him because he likes orange. That's a Dutch color. I like that. I'll have my orange tie on tonight too.
You would like me then in the month of November, yes, when I wear Blaze Orange deer hunting and pheasant hunting?
Yeah, only the month of November I would like you, yes.
Fouled away, 2 strikes. Hey, at least you like me 1 month out of the year. I got people around me who kind of make it a year-round deal.
Well, here's Soto right here, and Malone ahead. Now he was ahead of LaRoche when he gave him that fastball away. LaRoche got that base hit to left field, so don't make a mistake here.
In the dirt, 1-2.
Soto in his first season with the White Sox. Last year with the Oakland A's. Came up with the Cubs in 2005, so he has some history there in Chicago. Played 8 years in a Cubs uniform. Also the Rangers.
In the dirt again. When the Twins sent Malone to Rochester, of course, Tommy was surprised, disappointed. Twins sent him out saying, look, just be more aggressive, throw more strikes. Well, now even though he's thrown back-to-back pitches in the dirt here, you're looking at 23 pitches, or 32 pitches and 23 strikes. 2-2. Foul tip. But you know, we do that a lot, and I'm probably more guilty of it than anybody. But we talk about strike percentage, but it isn't just strikes. It's the quality of the strikes. Throwing inside corner, outside corner, high, low.
He did that against Chicago in his start, and then he did it against Kansas City, and he did not do it in his last 2 starts before he got optioned out.
Came inside, got a swinging strikeout. 2 scoreless innings again against the White Sox for Tommy Malone. Twins got a run in the first. Now Eddie Rosario will lead off the second. Left center field. Chased by Eaton. 1 down, 1 pitch, 1 out here in the second. That'll bring up Kurt Suzuki. Suzuki will take his time coming to the plate. The division leading Royals are in Seattle. They will get playing at Safeco Field in a little bit. Tigers are in Cleveland. That game tied at 3. Twins have started this homestand, and it's a stretch of 15 of 25 games at home, so it's really important that they establish that home field advantage they had in April and May.
Yeah, Twins still 23-14 here at Target Field. And one thing the White Sox have had not go right this year. They have struggled on the road, just 12 and 23 on the road. Good breaking ball right there. Coming in at 75 miles an hour.
Well, they sure didn't have a fun time in Minnesota on their first trip here, losing all 4 games. It played embarrassingly bad baseball. On the right field line and back into the seats. The White Sox were going through a stretch, and it started here, where they played every bit as badly against the Twins in that series as the Twins did in their first week of the year. They weren't doing anything right, weren't pitching well, weren't hitting, weren't fielding. 0-2 to Suzuki. Right field corner, and Garcia drifting back, making the catch short of the track, 2 down. That'll bring up Vargas. And tonight's Cold Hard Facts brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. The Twins enjoying a plus 31 run differential against the White Sox. Now we've updated it, and it is 32 with the 1 run scored in the first inning.
Yeah, in those 10 ball games, now 10 plus, the Twins have scored 58 runs to the 26 for the White Sox.
Here's Vargas, 5 in a row set down by Danks, and a big swing and a foul back.
And this is what the Twins want Vargas to do. Good swing right there. Hit it over the fence. He's hitting .340 as a right-handed hitter. Only .170 from the left side.
Oh, 2 to Vargas. And a pitch up. Foul to the screen. The American League this year is hitting .252. The Twins are hitting .246. And a good take, 2-2.
Yeah, change up right there by Danks. Danks has struggled against the American League Central Division. This is his 8th start against the Central Division. He is 1-5 with an ERA over 7.
Drill past Ramirez, a solid single to center for Vargas. Bring up Nunez.
You know, sometimes you see a hitter that is late on your fastball, that I thought Vargas was. So you throw a breaking ball, the speed is bad up, and that's exactly what Danks did right there. So you could get the barrel of the bat out front, and Vargas, you see the power that he can generate. That ball got through the infield in a hurry. I don't think that was a very good pitch selection by Danks.
Now Nunez. Belt high strike. A high foul fly. 2 strikes. Paul Molitor saying he wanted to put Nunez, with Buxton leading off, he wanted to put Nunez in his leg speed hitting ninth. He really likes the idea of having a fast runner.
5 hits in 11 at-bats against Danks. Nunez has a double, triple, and a home run against him.
Vargas is picked off. And I don't know where he thought he was going, but Vargas is picked off. And the big man is picked off for the final out. Carlos Sanchez leading off the third for the White Sox, taking ball one from Tommy Milone.
Yeah, Sanchez started the season with the White Sox, then shipped down to AAA and then recalled in his second stint. Sanchez only 22 years old.
Second base has become a real trouble spot for the White Sox. Micah Johnson didn't play well in the field and was sent down. Sanchez, they feel, can be a superior defensive player, but at some point you do need to hit.
Yeah, he's hitting only 155 in the minor leagues. Okay hitter. 6 minor league seasons, about a 280 hitter. But a little different here.
Tap to the right side, weakly to Mauer. One down. First trip through the batting order, just a couple of harmless singles allowed by Tommy Milone. One down. Carsoup.com trivia: who was the only player to win an AL batting title between 1971 and 78 that did not play for the Twins? Alex Johnson, I believe, in 1970, and then Oliva in 71. And then a long run by Mr. Carew. So, I think I know. I believe. I know Mr. Brett won one in the 70s. And I'm guessing it's Mr. Brett. One strike to Eaton.
We're going to have Rod Carew in the booth.
Yeah, the bottom of this inning, he's going to stop in. George Brett's claim to fame: he won 3 batting titles in 3 different decades. One in the 70s, one in the 80s, and one in 1990. 2 strikes, and Eaton strikes out.
Big slow curveball in the second strikeout for Tommy Milone.
2 down, and now Avisaíl Garcia.
Yeah, Eaton, a guy that kind of wants to, make contact and run, utilize his speed. You can see right there, he's way out in front of that breaking ball. Good pitch. And Suzuki tagging Eaton out for the second out.
There's Garcia, got a single, was left at first base in the first inning. And he has another base hit. Rosario gets to it. Garcia will be held to another single. Twins are really having a tough time getting this guy out. Thankfully, he's hitting with nobody on base. That'll bring up Abreu. Join us July 7th for Celebrate Diversity Day, presented by Prairie Island Indian Community. The first 10,000 fans get a Twins drawstring backpack, courtesy of Treasure Island Resort and Casino. Go to twinsbaseball.com/tickets and get your tickets today. Milone worked over Abreu inside, finally got him on a weak pop-up to the right side of the infield.
Well, sometimes as a hitter, Abreu very strong. He'll try to make the adjustment and maybe be a little quicker inside, but there's another pitch inside. It's kind of the cat and mouse game that sometimes pitchers play with certain hitters. If you're getting them out, now it's up to Abreu to make the adjustment to maybe open up a little quicker if they're going to keep pitching me in. And then, but that also opens up the outer half of the plate if he's, say, flying his hip open a little early.
There's a little flare into left field, and Rosario has the ball get by him. Buxton will get to it quickly and fire it back in. They'll hold the runners at second and third.
And that's what I think Abreu did right there, because that's almost the same pitch that he ended up popping out to Dozier in the first inning. He made the adjustment. This ball's inside, but you can see Abreu speeding up his bat a little bit. The ball kind of knuckled out there, and then Rosario diving for it, and the ball scoots and jumps over his glove.
Second and third, there are 2 out, and Melky Cabrera will bat. He fouled out to Mauer his first time up.
Abreu will be credited with a double, but there's 2 outs.
4 hits for the White Sox. And inside to Cabrera. 1-0. 2-0.
We have first base open with a left-handed LaRoche on deck. You want to be very careful here.
He's missing the down and away corner, and now it's 3-0.
See where the number 3 is. Just called the ball.
And pitch 4 right on top of him. Three and 1 to Melky Cabrera. Just off the corner. And they're loaded up now, with Malone getting the first 2 batters this inning, then single double walk, and LaRoche will come up with the bases loaded.
Yeah, I made a mistake on LaRoche to lead off the second inning. He was ahead in the count 0-2, then threw him a fastball away, and LaRoche just slapped it into left center.
White Sox have really struggled in situations like this. Twins have dealt with it too earlier in June. You get a chance for a big hit, drive in some runs, and the hits are hard to come by.
Good hard-breaking ball there. I think LaRoche was looking fastball because he missed that by about a foot. 50 pitches already for Tommy Malone.
Down and away, and it's 1-1.
Tried to come back with the same pitch. This time LaRoche took it. Left-handers coming into the ball game against Tommy Malone, hitting just 173. Opponents 247 overall.
2-1 just off the outside corner. Malone just missing his spots. We talked about it, throwing strikes, but you've got to hit your spots, and he's just missing them here in the 3rd inning.
Well, and that's his bread and butter, is hitting the corners. He starts throwing down the middle, he's going to get hurt. Like that.
Drilled to center field. Garcia scores, Abreu behind him, and the White Sox put together a 2-out rally with 3 hits and a walk, and they're still not done.
And LaRoche picks up his second hit, driving in a couple runs, now with 27 runs batted in on the year. And Malone fell behind, and then location. You can see that pitch about belt high. And LaRoche, even though he has struggled against lefties, hasn't missed too many pitches right down the middle.
And now Alexei Ramirez popped up to Dozier. He's now 1 for 15 in his career against Tommy Malone, and Malone would like to extend that here. First 2 outs came pretty easily. A ground ball to Mauer, a strikeout of Eaton, and single, double, walk, single, and the White Sox have a lead. Down and in, ball 1. We saw it in the Cubs series and in the Cardinals series. You fall behind good hitters, and you might get away with it once or twice, but eventually you will pay the price. 1-0 to Ramirez. Single low again. Well, this is the nibbling Tommy Malone that the Twins wanted to send to Rochester to be a little more aggressive out there.
But he's a pitcher that can't be aggressive in the strike zone. He has to work both sides, like that right there.
Oh,
just missing.
3-0. The base is about to be reloaded for Gordon Beckham.
Well, Ramirez a tough guy to walk. He's walked only 7 times in 253 plate appearances.
3-1.
He's had excellent numbers against the Twins over his career, even though he's hitting .222 this year. He's a .315 career hitter against the Twins.
To center. Buxton will charge. And here comes his throw all the way through to the plate. And Buxton threw him out. A strike from the rookie to end the inning.
That's because you told me I had a radio face.
Eduardo Nunez takes a strike. He was at the plate. It was an 0-2 count when Kenny Vargas was picked off. White Sox now with a 2-1 lead. John Danks working quickly,
as he always does.
Chopper left side, and Ramirez fires on the run. One down. We're very happy to have Hall of Famer Rod Carew with us. We just saw Byron Buxton double and score a run and then make a great throw here to end the inning. You worked a lot with him in spring training. How high is this man's ceiling?
He's got a very high ceiling. You know, he can play the game. You know what was amazing about that play is that ball was a short hop. It tied him up a little bit, but he took that extra step and made a real strong throw. So he's got a lot of things going.
That was a great throw. I thought Cabrera was going to score because there's 2 outs. You go off the crack of the bat, but a little late getting to home plate. But a great throw by Buxton.
Yeah, it sure was.
1-1.
You know, he can run, he can hit. I think his hitting is going to come around, and he can steal some bases. I think he's going to really help this ball club.
Backhanded, a fair ball, and Buxton retired. 2 down. I want to ask you about one other guy. We're going to show Buxton's hit to right center field.
Yeah, just leading off the bottom of the first right there, and well, he can mold it, Rod.
He does. He's going to have to slide a little bit earlier.
I like the way that he tackled the bag.
2 down. Dozier, the batter. I wanted to ask you about Eddie Rosario, who's really adjusted very well up here from the first pitch home run he hit. Bill Springman, who you worked with a lot, was with the Twins organization for many years as a roving minor league hitting instructor. The ball wrapped fair down the line, and Dozier nearly got hit by the throw.
Eddie Rosario is not afraid.
Okay.
He's not afraid, and that's why I think he's going to have a lot of success at the major league level.
Are you done? This is like the quickest appearance we've ever
had
here.
That's it? You're done?
I'm done.
Gee, thanks.
Well, thanks for coming.
Yeah. Thanks for the strawberries. Malone's delivered strike one to Gordon Beckham. He'll face Beckham, Soto, and Sanchez. Honestly, that has to be. Here's a little pop-up behind second base. Dozier going out. And he can't make the play. Somebody needs to cover second base. And now Malone goes there, and he tags out Beckham. Both the shortstop and second baseman went out. And Malone recognized that second base was left unoccupied, and he got there a couple steps ahead of the runner.
That's good heads-up play by Tommy Malone. You know, when a ball is hit somewhere, everybody has some place to go. And even though Dozier drops that ball, you can see Buxton was trying to beat Beckham to second, but he may have beat him too. But there's Tommy Malone saying, you know what, I will take over, and then tagging Beckham out.
So no, White Sox are considering a challenge here. That's why the batter Soto has not gone to the batter's box, and no, Robin Ventura says, "Oh, go ahead and go." Well, how about that? Byron Buxton with assists on the last two outs. He's thrown out somebody at home, and now he's thrown out somebody at second. Soto takes outside a ball. And a ball 2-0. I mean, years ago, I had Ed McMahon come in the booth, and he was on the air for 27 minutes, and that was just a half inning. So we get the Hall of Famer here. We've got Rosario, Buxton, Hicks, all these guys we want to ask about, and it's like 5 pitches. Ball hit to right field and deep. Hunter stopping and going, playing the bounce, and Soto to second with a double. And now the White Sox are teeing off on Tommy Malone. He's given up 7 hits and a walk to the last 8 batters. 6 hits and a walk to the last 7.
Well, Well, Tommy Malone again fell behind, fastball away, and good hitting by Soto. He doesn't try to pull that ball, just took it with him and hits off the base of the fence here. So he hit the warning track and then off the fence, but Soto with a double, his 5th double of the year.
Now Carlos Sanchez hit a ground ball to Mauer his first time up. Strike over the inside corner. Red Sox out hitting the Twins 8-3. And a flurry of 6 hits and a walk coming in the last 7 plate appearances. Dribbled back to Malone. He'll look at the runner and throw to first, 2 down.
Twins baseball on Fox Sports North is presented by CenturyLink, your link to what's next. By NorthlandFord.com and your local Northland Ford dealer. And by Grand Casino. The best stories start here.
Adam Eaton, the batter. 0 for 2. A fly ball to right and a strikeout. 2 gone. A runner at second. Breaking ball. Outside, ball 1. Mentioned that the American League is hitting 252. The White Sox hitting just 237. Bert mentioned that's just that's 14th in the league. Only Seattle's got a lower team batting average. There's a strike on the outside corner, 1-1. Inside. He almost hit by that vicious 72-mile-per-hour curveball. Chopped to third. Plouffe gets the first hop. Now they've got a rundown with the lead runner. And finally tagging out the runner, Soto.
You're going to catch Soto.
Couple of hits, but no run. enjoying a perfect night at Target Field. If you can, for the time being, disregard the score.
I'll tell you what, Twins are lucky that the score is only 2-1. I mean, 8 hits for the White Sox off of Tommy Milone in 4 innings, and they've only been able to put 2 runs on the board.
Bauer, Hunter, and Plouffe facing Danks, who delivers off the plate, ball 1.
Then I should finish it off by some very good defense behind Malone.
And the White Sox have played well in the field here. They made 3 good plays. Left side of the infield did to get 3 quick outs in the 3rd.
You know, if you've got a pitcher like Danks, and he works quickly. He's out of the page in the book of Mark Burley, who pitched here for so many years. No fooling around on the mound. He basically works very quick, and you're going to have better defense behind you if you have a good pace out there.
2-0 to Bauer. Deep to left. Cabrera backing up. That ball is gone. A home run. 24th hit for Bauer in 62 at bats against Danks, but his first home run.
And as Joe does so well, taking that pitch the other way, his 4th home run of the year. His 3rd here at Target Field. 1 to right, and now his 2nd to left field.
And what was the count? 2-0, right?
Yep. Danks gives up his 12th home run, and the Twins tie it on Bauer's home run.
Here is Hunter. Up and away, ball 1.
Nice to see. That's the 3rd home run off of a left-handed pitcher that Joe has hit of his 4 home runs.
And in the dirt.
That home run measured at 370 feet.
A lot of people have tweeted me trying to give me to describe here's the 2-0 count. What exactly it is Soto does to deliver the ball back to the pitcher. Now he apparently has a mental block of some sort. I don't know how in the world a team can exploit it. But he leans forward with his right shin guard and then lightly, softly tosses the ball to the pitcher. After a 4-pitch walk, he'll hand deliver it to Danks, and Plouffe will hit.
You know, there were catchers, I believe Ray Fosse had that habit of almost cocking his hand a couple times before he threw it back toward the pitcher. But watch Soto right here. He always does that, gets a new ball, and then he'll throw from the shin guard off of his right leg.
Mackey Sasser had a mental block throwing accurately back to the pitcher. Dave Engel, who was an all-star for the Twins, had a habit of double clutching and then lobbing it back to the pitcher. And I'll never forget it, Alfredo Griffin stole 3rd base on Engel's lob back to the mound, and that was very soon to be the end of Dave Engel's catching days. Then they moved him out to right field. Here's Plouffe, and a pitch foul back. So again, you're Hunter, you're at first base. How can you exploit this? Is there any way you can? The Twins have been aware of it all year long, but we haven't seen anybody be able to use it to their advantage. Squirted up the line, foul, 2 strikes.
Well, let's hopefully keep an eye on him once that ball gets into his glove and say it's a, and see how he throws that ball back. He may throw back harder to Danks with a runner on.
With a fly ball to right his first time up. Second time Danks is thrown over there, having a little fun with Torrey. Danks picked off Vargas to end the 2nd inning.
First pickoff of the year for Danks, but his 29th in his career. Very good at holding on runners. Very
Line
quick
step.
home.
Double play grounder. And it's thrown into right field. Hunter will go to 3rd. Ramirez.
Hopefully Torrey's all right. Kind of ran into Sanchez at second base and kind of grabbed his left leg. Gene Glenn right there making sure Torrey's okay. This looks like a routine double play. Sanchez there, but the throw gets away. Torrey running into Sanchez, but also stepping on the bag right there, and then scoots over to third.
A little bit of a grimace, but Torrey stays in the game. First and third.
It's an error on Ramirez, his 8th of the year.
Rosario hit a fly ball to center, his first time up. Fastball inside. So tied it on the Mauer home run. Danks pitched here in early May. He and the White Sox defense really failed him. 2-0.
Dank struggling so far here in the month of June. This is his 4th start in the month of June. He's 0-3 with an ERA over 6. 6.35. I told you his numbers here at Target Field, not good.
Foul. Butch Davis with the retrieve and the flip into the stands. 2-1.
Danks making his 227th start. 75 wins, 92 losses.
Go ahead run at third, nobody out. White Sox playing back. They'd like another opportunity at a ground ball double play. Move dives back. You can see where that move would be deceptive. You just hope you don't deceive your first baseman.
Well, he's so quick home too. Again, it's hard to run on him.
Dozier stole a base in the first inning.
There's only been 2 stolen bases in 3 attempts off of him this year.
Popped up behind third. Cabrera near the line. Hunter setting up for a possible tag. And it's just a bluff. And Hunter gets hit by the throw. Ramirez was standing right there and didn't catch the throw. Cabrera throwing right down the line to the third base bag. And Ramirez, who committed an error earlier, was standing right there and didn't catch the throw.
Well, Beckham was in closer toward home plate, and I don't think Ramirez did it on purpose.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he just, he kind of let that ball go through, and see Ramirez got out of the way and almost was shielding Torrey Hunter, and Torrey getting hit somewhere up high. Torrey just faking.
Well, why would Ramirez duck away from the throw?
Well, I think he was expecting maybe Beckham. The right chest area underneath his armpit.
Nothing more than miscommunication, but Hunter wasn't going anywhere. Ramirez was standing right there looking at that. I don't know why he would have let the ball go through to Beckham.
A lot of times over the years I saw those plays like that where you see the ball coming right at you, that runner, and being Torrey Hunter, gets out of the way, and there's Ramirez catches the ball and then tags Torrey out, but Ramirez didn't let that ball go through.
On the play, Plouffe goes to second base. So Twins are hoping that will be a productive advance, a productive out. Not getting Hunter in from third, but getting Plouffe to second. Here's Suzuki, a fly to right, his first time up. Down and in, ball 1.
And the scoring on that, hate to say it, but Cabrera gets an error out in left field.
Because he threw it to the right spot.
Yeah.
Second error of the inning. Infield halfway in. And this one hit deep enough to do some damage. Cabrera back to the warning track. Hunter will tag, and he'll run home this time. And it's a sacrifice fly. The Twins take a 3-2 lead.
And Suzuki picks up his 19th RBI. Well, Torrey wounded. He's a battler. He hit Sanchez and they hit him, but he scores the third run.
Now Vargas, who singled sharply to center field his last time up. Torrey was talking about how long it takes him to get ready to play a game, since he's going to turn 40 here in a few weeks. Low ball. I asked Paul Molitor the other day about Hunter turning 40 and having a productive year. Paul, it could be argued, had his finest year the year he turned 40 playing for the Twins. 1-0 in the dirt, 2-0. Paul said the key isn't the game so much, although Paul played 161 games the year he turned 40 for the Twins as a designated hitter, a few games here or there at first base. But he says it's the preparation time. It's making sure you discipline yourself to do the stretching and do the work and prepare yourself, even though it takes longer to prepare yourself than it used to 15 years ago.
Yeah, and Torrey knows that. You know, he prepares himself for every game.
Swing, 2-1.
Good changeup right there by Danks in a hitter's count.
So it was interesting to hear Torrey voice the fact that it takes so much longer to stretch and get ready and go play a game, and so he does that, and he's involved in two dangerous plays here in the fourth inning. 2-1. That's to left center field, and down for a hit. It'll drive in Plouffe, and Vargas has a couple of base hits, and it's 4-2.
That looked like another pitch that was left up by Danks. And Vargas picks up an RBI, his 12th of the year. That changeup kind of went right into that swing of Vargas, and he hit it in the right spot, right in left center.
He smoked the first hit. This one more of a sand wedge into left center. And now Nunez will hit. And so you look back at this inning, and that error charged to Cabrera that allowed Plouffe to get to second base eventually leads to another Twins run. Ball one.
Now you're going to see Vargas get off about 3 feet. That's it. He's going to wait until that ball goes home.
Down the line, foul. Nunez has gotten a lot of extra base hits. It may take a home run to score Vargas from first base.
Hey, not too far.
Still think one of the oddest things I've ever seen, and you remember Tippy Martinez very well, left-handed reliever for the Orioles, spent a little time in a Twins uniform. Picked off 3 guys in 1 inning. And if you're the third guy, where do you hide? 3 pickoffs at first base. Down and away, 2-2. Popped up behind the plate. Soto has no play. There's a guy who brought
a glove,
his glove in his left hand, and he caught it with his bare hand.
It looked like Kevin Mitchell when he made that catch down the left field line. Don't need no stinking glove.
3 spot for the Twins. Started on a Mauer home run here in the 4th. Nunez takes in the dirt, 3-2. And now you got trouble. It's a full count. Vargas is going to try to leave early.
And I'm sure Butch Davis says make sure he throws home. Oh, Abreu's doing him a favor. He's playing behind him.
And a pop-up foul near the tarp. And out of play. Yeah, if Abreu wasn't playing behind him, You could imagine Butch Davis holding on to Vargas's waistband until the catcher catches the ball.
This will be pitch number 28 this inning for John Danks.
Deep to left field. And Vargas will score.
Yes, he will.
Eduardo Nunez with a home run to make it a 5-run inning.
That was a no-doubter right there by Nunez, his second home run of the year. Well, the Twins get to John Danks here and their defense and take advantage of two mistakes. A high pitch at Nunez. It's deep into the night. The Twins have a 5-run inning and now a 6-2 lead.
You've seen him mash low fastballs. That one was letter high and he got on top of it. 1 strike to Buxton. Double and a run scored.
Stay with him, come on.
2 assists and a very impressive throw to the plate to cut down a runner earlier. So going to foul, 2 strikes.
That home run measured at 395 feet. And for Nunez, his other home run came in May against Chris Sale, who will be pitching here on Wednesday.
Inside, 1-2.
Hey, right there.
A lot of left-handers on that list.
Yeah, just so you can almost see by his mannerisms now, Danks is just frustrated. And there's one reason right there at Target Field, that high earned run average.
2-2 to Buxton. Foul tip. And Soto hangs on. The Twins go deep twice. Bauer with a home run. Nunez with a home run. All adding up to a 5-run fourth. They put up a 7-run inning in the fourth, a 5-run inning. The Twins right now in control of things, 6-2. Garcia to lead off the fifth against Tommy Milone.
Yeah, Tommy Milone, even though he's given up 8 hits, only 2 runs. Now with a 4-run lead. Needs a quick inning. That was pitch number 70 already. 11 pitches in the fourth.
Dozier fields the first hop quickly to Mauer, 1 away. That'll bring up Abreu with the bases empty. Fox Sports Supports is proud to team up with Boys and Girls Clubs of America. Boys and Girls Clubs help young people reach their full potential as productive, caring, and responsible citizens through programs that promote character and leadership, education, healthy lifestyles, and more. For more info, visit foxsportssupports.com. Abreu with a pop-up to Dozier and then a double. Red Sox had a great opportunity to score more than the 2 that they got. You brought up a good point. The Twins were lucky to be down just 2-1. There was a sequence of 7 straight batters that reached, 6 with hits, 1 with a walk. And let's bookmark that play that ended the 3rd inning, especially given what happened at the start of the 4th inning. But Buxton with a very strong throw to cut down Cabrera to get the Twins off the field in the 3rd, because the 4th inning started with 2 more hits.
Right.
On the ground and off the glove of Nunez, and no chance for Dozier to recover. It'll be a base hit, I suspect, for Abreu. That'll bring up Cabrera. Only in Minnesota can you go back in time and experience history at a multitude of historic sites, including the Grand Portage National Monument, the Sudan Underground Iron Mine, Fort Snelling, the Mill City Museum, Olivier H. Kelly Homestead, and many others preserved across the state. Visit exploreminnesota.com and discover a world that's only in Minnesota. Share and tag your Minnesota experiences with hashtag #OnlyInMN. Here is Cabrera. Fouled out and walked. And Milone hits the outside corner. Today, a significant day in Twins history. It was 31 years ago today that the Griffith family sold the ball club to the Poland family.
Yeah, I looked it up. You know, we were there. I was with the Cleveland Indians. We were there the day before the 3-game series. It was Chicago White Sox that were in town.
I broadcasted the ceremony, the signing of the papers, and then the game itself. And very vivid memories of a very somber occasion, because we all knew how much baseball meant to the Griffith family. 2 strikes to Melky Cabrera. Popped up down the right field line. And a foul ball. No one can get there. And on a somber note as well, tragic news today. A guy who was just a great person to be around, Darryl Hamilton, found dead in his home today of a gunshot wound. Age 50. Played for a handful of teams. Was a teammate of Paul Molitor's for a number of years. And it was a very tough question for Paul Molitor to answer regarding the news of the day. Great friend of Darryl Hamilton's. Hooked foul.
I met Darryl Hamilton over the years. You know, he does some stuff with MLB and worked for different clubs, up in the radio booth, TV booth. Just a nice man.
Always had a smile on his face, whether he was playing or serving in another capacity in baseball. 2 strikes to Cabrera. Tapper towards short. They'll get 1. Safe at first. Cabrera getting down the line. He'll reach on a fielder's choice, subject to a Twins challenge.
Well, you want to make sure you get 1, and that's what Nunez did. Good throw to Dozier. Then it's his job to get it over to Mauer, but Cabrera does stay out of the double play.
Milone will ascend the mound. There will be no challenge. The batter is Adam LaRoche. He has 2 singles. And the second single drove in the 2 Chicago runs. He came into this game hitless against Tommy Milone in 5 at-bats with 3 strikeouts. But he's picked up a couple of singles against Milone here tonight. And he bunts. Milone spins and fires. He got it too close to the mound. And the White Sox come up empty in the 5th. Good friend of baseball taken from us yesterday as we say goodbye to Darrell Hamilton. Brian Dozier leads off the Twins 5th. And he takes down and away ball 1. When Danks faced the Twins here in early May, he faced 18 batters and retired only 8. So far here tonight, he's faced 19 batters and retired just 11. Marginally a little bit better, but a big 5 spot in the 4th inning. Our T-Mobile game changer is Brian Dozier, and including his 2 at-bats prior tonight, hitting .313 with 4 home runs against Chicago. Hot ground ball backhanded nicely by Beckham, and a good snatch at first by Abreu. That is a really fine play by Beckham, and as much as the errors hurt the White Sox in the 4th inning, they've made some good plays in the infield.
That's the second time that Beckham has gone down that third base line against Dozier and made almost the identical play, but yeah, nice pick right there by Abreu at first.
1 down, and that'll bring up Mauer. The 5-run 4th started with an opposite field home run by Mauer. In his first inning at bat, he bounced to short. Down and away, ball 1. White Sox with a good run of pitching as well. Coming into the game in their last 6 games, an ERA at 2.45. The run the Twins got in the first was earned. And how many in that 4th inning mess were earned?
Only 1 earned.
Is that right?
Joe Mauer's home run.
Everything after that? Okay.
1 earned.
3-0 to Mauer with Hunter on deck.
Danks with 1 walk, 1 strikeout. Walked Hunter last inning.
On the outside corner. First inning run the Twins got. Buxton doubled, scored quickly on Dozier's single. White Sox have now been outscored in the first inning, 58-19. Fouled away. The 58 runs allowed in the first inning, the worst in baseball.
Yeah.
And the 19 runs scored in the first inning, that too, the worst in baseball. Made for a very long first 10 weeks or so for Robin Ventura and his staff. Full count to Mauer. Struck him out. Down and in, 2 away. And that'll bring up Torrey Hunter, but before Torrey has his at bat, let's go to Marty Gellner.
Guys, I am in the Minnesota Lottery Winners Circle. We have $100 worth of scratch-off tickets for newlyweds, Emily and Kyle from Moorhead. Literally newlyweds because they were married on Saturday, as in 2 days ago. You're celebrating your honeymoon here tonight, and you have a Minnesota honeymoon planned all week. Where are you headed?
We're going to Lake Mille Lacs tomorrow. We got a cabin on the lake, and we're planning to spend a couple nights there.
A Twins game in Lake Mille Lacs. Good plan.
Wow.
Yeah, should
Very
be fun.
nice.
Not a bad week. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Newlyweds at the ballpark.
Congratulations, you two lovebirds.
The 2 fishermen. You go to Mille Lacs, you got to get out and try to catch some walleyes.
They're on their honeymoon.
So, if the walleyes are biting, you got to go.
I guess, yeah.
You go out at night about this time with a couple dozen leeches, and you head out to the flats, and maybe you just use slip bobbers, and you fish till you catch your limit, and whatever you want to keep, whatever's in the slot limit, you bring home, and then you have a nice midnight fish fry.
Those sound good.
1-2 to Hunter. Chop left side. Beckham has to make another good play, and he turns it. And Danks has a 1-2-3 fifth inning. A couple of nice plays by Gordon Beckham. Getting a 5-run 4th inning to take a 6-2 lead over Chicago. Tommy Malone had one rough inning. Gave up a couple of runs, and now in the 6th they face Ramirez, Beckham, and Soto.
Hey, Malone threw 58 pitches in the first 3 innings, but the last, the 4th and the 5th, only 11 each inning. So right now, 81 pitches. And he did the right thing. That pitch just misses inside. Did the right thing when he had that 5-run inning the Twins gave him with that 4-run lead. He went out and shut the door. Only a single last inning, but got out of it quickly.
Ramirez motions as if he's going to bunt, takes a strike, 2-1.
Ramirez had an all-star year last year. First time he made the American League all-star team.
2-2.
But this year it's a different story. Hit 273 last year, career 277 hitter in his 8th season with the White Sox.
Just down and away, and it's 3-2. Malone has walked 1 man. That was Cabrera in the middle of that 3rd inning rally. And Ramirez, who's hard to walk, takes a walk, leading off the 6th.
Only the 8th time he has taken a walk this year.
Fox Sports North and the Minnesota Wild are celebrating hockey this summer at the Minnesota Wild Summer Bash, presented by Wells Fargo on Friday, June 26th at the XL Energy Center. It's the biggest hockey bash of the summer with interactive hockey-themed games, Wild player autographs, a chance to win prizes, and much more. For more details, visit foxsportsnorth.com. Click on upcoming events. Here's Beckham. Fox Tracks presented by Ram, and a soft line drive, and Nunez with the catch. 1 down. And they'll quickly get us to Soto. Some other baseball news, and sentimentally, I think a lot of people in baseball felt that if Pete Rose was ever going to be reinstated for baseball, that it would happen during the All-Star break, which is in Cincinnati. I suspect whatever chance there was of that happening went out the window today when they have discovered evidence now that Rose not only bet on baseball while he was a manager, but he bet on baseball while he was a player. The fly ball right center field. It's got some carry. Hunter back and on the track makes the catch for out number 2. Deep fly off the bat of Soto for the 2nd out.
Yeah, what amazed me is it takes, what, 27 years to finally get this out?
But apparently there's evidence that he regularly bet on baseball, and that is in violation of, I don't know if it's rule number 1 in the clubhouse, but it's been posted in every clubhouse since 1919.
Right.
2 down. Here's Sanchez. Sanchez 0 for 2. Reportedly, he bet on baseball as a player. He admitted that he bet on baseball as a manager. 1 strike to the number 9 batter. And now 1-1. White Sox, as Bert mentioned, really struggling on the road. They've got this critical road trip that they need to. 500 really doesn't do them much good. They need to win this series. They need to win the series in Detroit. They need to be representative in St. Louis. Up and away. 2-1. It's the problem when you're 10 games out, 8 games below 500 at this point of the year. You really can't tread water. You need to start making some progress with the trade deadline coming up at the end of next month.
They have to take advantage of what happened in the 3rd inning when they only scored 2 runs.
3-1, and Malone struggling with the bottom of the order here. He walked the leadoff man, and now he's in danger of walking Sanchez.
Yeah, I'm hoping that he keeps that pitch count down. You can see the 58 pitches the first 3 innings, but then right now this is 34 since.
Sanchez would just
got to make him swing the bat right here.
And he does. He squirts it to the right side, and Dozier can't gather it in. It'll be a hit for Sanchez, just his third hit in 26 at bats from the right side of the plate. And the inning continues.
Yeah, no free passes, so make him earn his way on. And Brian Dozier almost made a great play. Look at him dive right there. He hit the heel of his glove and bounced out.
Sanchez runs pretty well. I don't know whether Dozier would have been able to throw him out at first.
Still a great effort.
Eaton 0 for 3. Fly ball to right, strikeout, and the ground ball to Plouffe for third. Swing and a miss.
Eaton having a tough time already. 0 for 3 in this ball game against Malone, but also against left-handed pitchers. Hitting just 191 coming into the game.
Strike 2 called. Malone's not had a 1-2-3 inning. Won't have one here in the 6th, but he can strand 2 more runners. White Sox have left at least 1 on in every inning.
Yeah, the 10 hits he's allowed are the most hits he's given up in a game so far this year.
Ball tapped foul. Oh, and 2 to Eaton. 1 and 2.
I think Tommy Malone's he's at the end of the string right here.
Activity in the bullpen already.
I was hoping he'd have a quick inning and maybe get one more inning, a shot at one more, but this will be pitch number 98.
And Malone can't reach it. Dozier can. Quick flip. Got him by a half step. 2 more left aboard by the White Sox. And the Twins continue to lead 6-2. 6-2 Twins. Trevor Plouffe leading off the bottom of the 6th. And the first pitch hammered to right center field. And one hops the wall, and Plouffe has a double. And Plouffe, who hit the ground ball to Ramirez that kind of defined that 4th inning. And he tees off on the first pitch and gets a ringing double in the 6th.
Yeah, it's a fastball that just stays up, and Trevor, who had 40 doubles last year, picks up his 17th here, and that's always a good sign when Trevor does that right there. Hits the ball sharply the other way. One hopping the fence. A leadoff double here in the bottom of the 6th. 7th hit for the Twins.
Now Rosario, a couple of outfield flies. One of them coming with a runner at 3rd and only one out. His fly to left. Nobody out, I should say. Fly to left, not deep enough to score. Torrey Hunter from 3rd, but that was the play that saw Hunter get hit by Cabrera's throw, and that allowed Plouffe to advance to 2nd, and he later came in on a single. Big swing and a miss, 1-1.
Couple of good changeups right there by Danks.
Soto coming out of his crouch, bluffing a throw to 2nd. And just got a piece of it. With Danks floating another one out over the plate. Did have a 1-2-3 inning in the 3rd. He got 3 ground balls to the left side. Had a 1-2-3 inning in the 5th.
Yeah, back in December of 2011, the White Sox secured Danks in that starting rotation. They gave him a 5-year contract. He has not this year, but also next year. He had that surgery that he missed most of 2012.
The line foul.
Danks making his 29th career start against the Twins. We showed you the numbers here, but overall 7-14 against the Twins with an ERA at 5.67. He won his first major league game against the Twins back in 2007. In his 6th major league start.
And that one will stay up the line, and Rosario will get a base hit. Soto nearly left the home plate area uncovered. That ball rolled up the baseline. It didn't go on the grass. It just rolled in the dirt.
Yeah, you know what? There are certain ballparks that kind of maybe shift that line a little bit to where that ball stays fair. Normally that ball would roll foul. But take a look at this swing. Kind of a swinging bunt. Ball hitting the dirt. And the spin of the ball almost the opposite. It just stayed right there. And Trevor Plouffe rounding 3rd right now. He's going to say, if you're going to keep your back to me, John Danks, I might try to score. You see Soto hustling back to the plate. And that ball stays fair.
1st and 3rd. Now Garcia has an issue in right field. And Sanchez is tending to him. I don't know if it's a contact lens or what. I saw the Twins do that when we got to Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Take baseballs before they took the field and roll baseballs up the line. It's particularly important for when you're in a ballpark you're unfamiliar with. But they did that down each line. Take the ball and roll it down the line and see if there's any tilt one way or the other.
We did that in Detroit for the World Series. We came out early and rolled balls up and down the 3rd base line.
Playoff series.
In the playoffs, yep.
1st and 3rd, nobody out. Suzuki at the plate.
It's especially important for pitchers to do that because there are a lot of bunts that are right down the line. You watch a rotation of the ball, but if everything is curved back toward the infield, you have to go get it right away.
To short right. Garcia near the line with the catch. One down. And that'll bring up Vargas. Carsoup.com trivia question. The only player to win an American League batting title that didn't include Tony Oliva or Rod Carew. I think it's George Brett. Yep, 1976.
Nice going.
Well, you know, that's just a guess on my part.
That was a good guess, though.
A long run there where some left-handed batter was going to win the batting title, whether it was Oliva, Carew, Boggs, Yastrzemski, Brett. It was rare when there was a right-handed batting champion. Kirby was one of the exceptions to the rule. Here's Vargas. Inside, ball one. Vargas with a pair of singles, including a 2-run single his last time up. Strike call. 1-1.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that and seeing that. I believe Hal McRae was upset at Gene Mauch because I think.
Was that the year?
That I believe George Brett got a base hit to left field, and he felt that whoever was playing left field, whether it be Steve Bry, I believe
it was, yeah,
that he should have caught that ball, and the ball fell in front of him. That's his teammate he was upset about because George Brett got the hit.
1-2 to Vargas, trying to get a fly ball deep enough to drive in his 3rd run of the game.
He's had 2 good at bats so far. Base hit in the 2nd inning for Vargas and an RBI single in the 5-run 4th. Wiggle of the fingers, a changeup.
And he takes it. Two and two. Rolls away, and that'll allow Rosario to go to second.
Yeah, that changeup getting away from Soto, and it's a wild pitch charged to Danks. His 4th wild pitch of the year. On the other side of home plate.
Full count to Vargas with 2 men now in scoring position. Infield in now for the White Sox. Deep to left field. That's not coming back. Wow. Five runs batted in for Vargas. On a long home run to left, he makes it a 9-2 game.
That was a no-doubter. Vargas with his 5th home run of the year. His 2nd as a right-handed hitter. And there might have been a changeup that just stayed right there. Wow.
Another fun night for Twins hitters against John Danks. And Danks off the mound dejectedly. Unable to complete 6 innings, 5 1/3 innings, 5 earned runs, and a total of 9 runs. And now the Twins get into the White Sox bullpen.
And all 5 of Vargas's home runs hit here at Target Field. 3 home runs hit here this evening by the Twins, and Danks, that was his 29th start against the Twins, more than any opponent. I don't know if he wants to pitch against the Twins anymore. Here's Scott Carroll coming out for the bullpen for the 9th time. A couple stints this year with the Chicago White Sox. Started in AAA, called up, sent back down, and then just recalled.
Check swing. 1-1.
That home run by Vargas measured at 425 feet.
Was it still climbing when it
hit that limestone up there? Might have broke it. Might have put a crack in that limestone.
2-1.
Got a report on Carroll. Fastball, good movement on that fastball. Has a split finger, a slider. In his 2nd season with the White Sox.
Chop between the home plate and the mound, and Carroll. And Nunez will go to second base. And he will hold up there. I would guess a base hit and an error.
That's got to be an error the whole way. I mean, Carroll kind of picked up that ball and really didn't put anything on it.
The only reason I think it might be a hit is the throw got to the bag about the same time Nunez did.
Carroll had plenty of time. Like, he kind of takes his time right here, and then half-heartedly, I don't know, almost like a changeup. Even if Abreu, if it's a good throw, Nunez may have beat it out. But there's an error in there somewhere, and there will be the 3rd error for the White Sox. And they do give him an infield base hit, and the error by the pitcher.
And now Buxton, 1 for 3, a leadoff double in the 1st and a run scored. A more important throw from center field to end the lone White Sox rally of the game. Scored twice. They were trying to score a 3rd time, and Buxton, as Rod Carew pointed out, caught an in-between hop and gathered it in, took the extra step, and then fired a missile to home plate. Chop foul, 2 strikes. Every Twins fan wants this guy to start hitting. And just in a general sense, we want to see his talent shine through at this level. And he does have a double and a run scored, but for the first time we were able to see his throwing arm, which Terry Ryan said is, next to his speed, his 2nd greatest attribute as a baseball player. 2 strikes. His bat was down the list of talents, so I think everyone understands it might take a little while given the fact he's skipping AAA.
And remember, he didn't play much last year either.
Right. Down and in, close pitch, 2-2. Hope is Aaron Hicks will be activated soon, in a week or so, from the disabled list. Nice stop by Soto. It's 3-2. Excuse me, 2-2. Throwing the ball back to the pitcher. Not very efficiently.
Yeah, the 3 home runs hit here tonight by the Twins. It's the 2nd time they have had a game where they've hit at least 3 home runs. The other time here in Oakland back in early May, when the Twins hit 3 home runs, and they won that game 13-0. It was a game that Rosario against Scott Kazmir hit the home run on the first pitch.
Full count to Buxton. Still only 1 out here in the 6th. Slow bouncer. Ramirez will have to hurry. Safe at first.
You see the speed right there. Ramirez couldn't have played it any better. He's got a cannon for an arm. Buxton in his first at-bat here tonight. He led off the bottom of the first inning with a double. And then the throw home ended up cutting that rally for the White Sox. And then right here, he's going to run to Beckham. Nope, flipping it to Malone, who tags out Beckham at second base.
First multi-hit game in the big leagues. Buxton at first. Nunez at second. The batter is Dozier. Checked with Byron today. His family is still here. They're going to watch the youngster play throughout the homestand.
How quick. You know, there are certain guys that within 1 or 2 steps are at full stride. And he is. My goodness. Get down that line quickly. Nice to see.
Dozier up the line foul. You see that speed, and you see the arm, and it makes you wonder exactly what it would take to send this man down. As we said when he was called up, this is a contending team, and on the basis of nothing more than he's one of the top 25 talents in the organization, you can make a case that he should be right where he is in the big leagues. Two strikes to Dozier. Try to hit it to somebody other than Gordon Beckham. Trying to get it past him. Beckham's turned in a couple of nice plays on Dozier in the game.
All 3 times, 3 at-bats, Dozier's hit it. That first one was to his left. That was just out of his reach, and then 2 ground balls up right up that third baseline to Beckham. Made a couple nice plays.
Five hits in this inning against 2 different Chicago pitchers. Carroll has yet to get a man out. That gets through Soto's leg. Both runners will move up.
Wild pitch should be charged to Carroll. Looked like a slider right there that got underneath the glove of Soto. So this is turning into another ugly game for the Chicago White Sox against the Twins. It is a wild pitch. And for Carroll, that's his second wild pitch of the year.
Infield has to come in. White Sox are already down by 7 runs. You know, everybody loses games. You're going to lose at least 60 probably every time you play. But in losing, you want to feel like you've done something right. You had a good game in the field, or you got some hits. You pitched well. And from what we've seen from the White Sox here, they've not been able to pull any positive out of any of their losses here. 1 and 2. They've been terrible in the field again tonight. They haven't pitched well. They haven't hit in the clutch. Popped up into the twilight. And Sanchez with the catch, and that's the second out. You know, as the Twins were struggling in the first couple weeks of June, fans and those of us who watched the team were at least able to say, hey, the team is pitching well, and long term, you know, guys will start hitting and all that. But the White Sox haven't even given their fans much of anything to feel good about in these games against the Twins. There's Mauer. He'll be walked to fill the bases. Hunter will come up as the 9th man to bat after the Twins sent 8 men to the plate in the 4th. So an intentional walk, and now Hunter comes up with the bases full and 2 down. Sanford Health Injury Report regarding Johnny Cueto. His next start pushed back to Friday night, which means he might very well and would be scheduled to pitch against the Twins when we get to Cincinnati. Twins have 6 National League games in a row, 3 in Milwaukee, 3 in Cincinnati, and then they're done with the National League part of the schedule.
Don't the Pirates, I believe Pirates come here.
Pirates come here. I just meant play by the National League rules.
Right,
Last time we'll be pleasured by a Twins pitcher trying to hit will be on this next road trip. Down the line, Hunter delivers a hit. It'll score 1. It'll certainly score Buxton. And now Mauer to third. He'll be held. And Hunter has a 2-run double, and the romp continues.
Well, the intentional walk did not work out. Carroll just threw him a pitch right there. Torrey jumped on that first pitch for a big 2-run double. Picking up RBI number 37 and 38 on the year. Pitch right down the middle. Torrey, good swing. His 11th double of the year.
And now Trevor Plouffe started this inning with a double to right center. It was on the inning's first pitch. And the Twins are still hitting. They've had 2 5-run innings here today. Looking for more in the 6th. Down and away, ball 1. Carroll's faced 5 men and retired 1. Two and 0. Tommy Malone enjoying the proceedings here through 6 innings. His night is done. Popped up. And Abreu in foul ground. Ends another 5-run inning for the Twins. It is 11-2. casino story of the game.
Well, the White Sox had a 2-1 lead. Adam LaRoche getting a couple runs right there in the second inning, but a big run, fifth inning. Started off fourth inning. Started off by Joe Mauer's fourth home run of the year. Twins added 4 unearned runs against John Danks. And they just opened up the game to 11-2 lead with another 5 spot put on in the bottom of the sixth.
Wayne Boyer into the game to pitch for the Twins. Looks like Bonifacio's hitting for the White Sox.
Yeah, Boyer making his 33rd relief appearance.
Chop to the right side, hit right to Dozier. 1 down. Facio grounding out, and now Abreu will hit. Abreu's actually got a couple of hits against the Twins, a double and a run scored in the third, and then he got a single in the fifth.
I saw the numbers on Boyer. He's not a strikeout pitcher. Doesn't walk a lot of guys. 8 walks, 4 of them intentional in 32, now 33 innings pitched.
Up high, ball 1 to Abreu. Tigers leading the Indians 7-4, bottom of the 8th inning at Progressive Field. Trevor Bauer having a tough outing for the Indians. That's hit to center. Buxton comes in to glove it. 2 away.
Twins baseball on Fox Sports North is presented by Toyota. See where Toyota takes you. Test drive one at your local Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places. And by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, for the everyday competitor in all of us.
J.B. Shuck is going to hit in Melky Cabrera's spot with 2 down here in the 7th inning. And a strike. Well, the Twins got some deep starts, back-to-back 8-inning starts, and we all thought, well, that'd be exactly what the bullpen needs to kind of freshen things up a little bit. But in the last 2 games of the Cubs series, bullpen had some issues. Aaron Thompson had a rough outing. Michael Tonkin gave up a grand slam. 1-1 to Shuck. And in the dirt, 2-1. Seattle has a 1-0 lead. King Felix Hernandez going for the Mariners in that game against Joe Blanton.
That might be all the runs that Seattle needs. King Felix has been pitching good.
2-1. And now 3-1. LaRoche on deck. Light schedule on this Monday night. Just 6 other games. 4 in the American League. Not counting this one. And a walk puts Shuck aboard.
This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Minnesota Twins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Minnesota Twins, LLC. A rare walk for Boyer, only his 5th unintentional walk in 33 innings.
Twins shifting LaRoche as they did in the 5th inning, and LaRoche tried to drop down a bunt up the third baseline. He got a little too close to the mound, and Malone was able to pick up the bunt, throw him out to end the 5th inning. 1-0. And no strike. Fouled away, 1-2. Talked about the road trip, 3 games here, 4 in Detroit. Then there's an off day for the White Sox in St. Louis. And then they play the Cardinals. The one hope they have, and they played much better at home than on the road. They got a lot of home cooking. They have a week-long homestand, then 3 games against the Cubs before the break, and then another week-long homestand after the break. And LaRoche is called out. Boyer ends up finishing off the White Sox in the 7th. Twins score 11 runs, and now the run differential for the Twins in those 11 games plus 40. That's remarkable.
Yeah, Twins have scored 68 runs. The White Sox have scored 28.
And the difference is
40. Pretty quick, huh?
Rosario with a 1-0 count. Facing Carroll. Dribbler toward the mound, and Carroll gets rid of it quickly.
A lot quicker than he did against Nunez.
1 down. You can spend your summer here at Target Field and become a Twins season ticket holder with the new Pick 10 plan. You pick 10 games against the opponents that you want to see defeated and save off the box office price. Enjoy sweet spot benefits exclusive to Twins season ticket holders, including 10% off game day food and merchandise here at Target Field. Learn more about the package options visiting twinsbaseball.com/pick10 or by calling 612-33-TWINS. 1 gone. Here's Suzuki. And a strike. Suzuki 0 for 2. He's hit 3 outfield flies. On one of them, he drove in a run. Breaking ball drops over the inside corner. 2 strikes. Shuck is in right. Bonifacio in left. Twins will go to Chicago one more time. Chicago will come to Minnesota one more time. The series coming in September. White Sox will make a visit here very early September, and then a week and a half later the Twins will go to Chicago. Eaton with the catch, 2 away.
Suzuki hitting everything in the air.
Vargas will hit. He's got a 3-hit game going. He's driven in 5 runs. This is the type of game the Twins are looking for. He has hit the ball very hard twice. One of the singles was a softer line drive. It was still hit fine, but he's absolutely smoked the ball twice, and now 3 times. A 4-hit game for Vargas, and he's aboard with a 2-out single.
All 3 hits, the singles, have gone almost to left center. He hit that first one up to left center. He getting to it, and then that one that splits the outfielders. And then the home run, the 3-run home run that went 425 feet. And then the base hit we just saw right now. He stayed on that sinker nicely.
And now Nunez has had a good day at the plate as well. 2 hits, 2 runs batted in, 2 runs scored. Fouled back.
You know, that's what we saw in the month of May when the Twins were really hitting the ball all around. It just wasn't 3 or 4 guys. The lower part of the lineup always seemed to do a really good job when the Twins were winning. Great contribution from 1 through 9.
1 strike. We'll wait and see, of course, but what do you think the chances are that Byron Buxton will be leading off again tomorrow?
I'd have to say there's probably a pretty good chance.
Not to make excuses for the man, and the Twins, I think, did the right thing by not hitting him leadoff. But that's all he's known from the time he signed professionally. He hit in the leadoff spot. The Twins trying to protect him maybe a little bit, hitting him 9th. Much more impactful game certainly tonight, both at the plate and in the field.
Well, maybe that base hit that he got yesterday just relaxed him a little
Could
bit.
be. 1-2 to Nunez.
You know, you have your family here, and of course you go home, and they're going to say, when are you going to get your first hit? Well,
we came all the way from Georgia, and there's a called 3rd strike. Nunez is called out, and that ends the 7th inning for the Twins.
Not a strike.
America's Studio Sports Update. In May of 2003, Torrey Hunter made one of the most memorable catches of his career. The Twins were leading the White Sox late in the game when Hunter went up and over the fence to rob Carlos Lee with a run-saving catch and preserving a 3-1 Twins win.
And he could still fit into that uniform, too, 12 years later. 11-2, and J.R. Graham's come out of the Twins bullpen. He might get the 8th. He might get the 9th.
Yeah, hopefully I can get through the 8th right now. You see Robinson taking over for Hunter in right field, and Chris Herman taking over for Joe Mauer at first base.
One of the rare odd innings that Herman's played somewhere other than behind the plate.
Yeah, I think we were go over that yesterday, and we were thinking, well, he only caught but a couple times in right field, and this is his first time at first. The numbers on Graham. And this is what we've seen from Graham right off the get-go out of that bullpen. Always up in the zone. He's got a great fastball, but the control needs to get a little bit sharper. There's Herman at first.
2-0.
He worked here on Friday against the Cubs in the Twins 7-2 win. He did give up a home run to Rizzo. Anthony Rizzo in his 1 inning of work.
For the number of innings thrown, the home runs allowed are a little bit high.
6 of them, yeah.
3-1. The hits are higher than you'd think. Opponents hitting .291 against him. Walks are 5, 8 in nearly 30 innings. Dozier, and the ball hits the bag and goes into short center field. Dozier was ready to try to barehand it, and then even had the ball not hit the bag with Ramirez's speed, he likely would have gotten it in.
Yeah, that high chopper over the mound. Graham at 6 foot couldn't get it, and the ball hits the front of the bag and deflects straight up. No chance, really. And Ramirez, an infield base hit, his 2nd hit of ball game.
That'll bring up Beckham. Mentioned that the second base position's been kind of a trouble spot for the White Sox really ever since Beckham stopped becoming an everyday player there. Actually, the year or two leading into it, he underperformed. That's why he isn't an everyday second baseman for the White Sox or anybody else, but it's certainly been a trouble spot this year. Sanchez trying to hit well enough to win the spot. Johnson didn't play well in the field. Outside, not 2-0.
Saw Suzuki walk out there and talk to Graham, just trying to settle him down, get him back in the strike zone. I think Kurt's going to move much behind the plate with Graham. He's going to sit pretty much down the middle of the plate.
Graham, of course, thrilled to be here, but he wants to gravitate toward more important innings, and the best way to do that is to throw strikes and get people out in a blowout game like this. 3-1.
Well, he did a good job in that one start where the Twins had the doubleheaders at Boston and needed a starter, and he came in. I think he got exactly, or Molitor and Neil Allen got exactly what they wanted when he pitched 4 innings, only gave up 1 run.
And you just can't allow for walks when you're up by 9 runs. First and second, nobody out. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live or on demand in true HD with MLB.TV Premium. MLB.TV Premium includes a free At-Bat 15 subscription. You can watch live baseball on over 400 mobile and connected devices. You can watch at home, in the office, on the go, every night, on every device. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details.
The last thing you want is to give up a big inning to the White Sox, or you want to keep them down. So it's up to Graham to hopefully find a way to put a 0 on the board. That slider he has not been able to get over yet. Graham, 25 years old, last year at the Double-A level for the Atlanta Braves. The Twins picked him up in the Rule 5 draft. See if we get a ground ball right here.
Liner foul. Talking with Faribault native Jake Petrichka for the game, and he's a big part of this Chicago bullpen again after having some forearm issues. But he was talking about Graham and how he remembered Graham as a starting pitcher, and that's of course where he was in the Braves system as a Rule 5 pickup, pitching out of the bullpen for the Twins. 1-2, and off the plate 2-2.
And he missed with that slider again. Throwing 4 or 5 sliders. He's yet to throw one over. 14 pitches, only 5 strikes. Take a deep breath.
And now Suzuki to the mound. Graham has had some shoulder problems, and last year when he started, he was on a pitch count. Very modest pitch count for a starting pitcher. So that he's a reliever now makes a little bit more sense as a Rule 5 pitcher. Suzuki trying to get Graham re-locked in.
There's a good slider, and he gets a strikeout. So whatever Kurt Suzuki told him, hey, take a deep breath or something. Good slider right there. Graham gets a strikeout. I always say that catcher's kind of like your second pitching coach on the field. A good break on that. And Soto swinging at a pitch out of the strike zone.
There's a double play grounder.
Boy, Soto. I mean, Suzuki did a great job, didn't he?
Graham with a scoreless 8th inning. Byron Buxton has had a good night at the plate. He's had a good night in the field. His best night as a major leaguer. He's got a chance in the 8th inning here if he gets a hit to double his hit total in the big leagues. He's already got 2 tonight. 2 runs scored. A tremendous throw from center field. Junior Guerra will pitch for the White Sox.
Yeah, Guerra spent most of the year on the disabled list with some right shoulder inflammation. Then optioned down to minor leagues and just recalled on June 7th, making only his 3rd appearance of the year.
Buxton doubled and scored in the 1st. Singled and scored in the 6th. Ball 1.
Yeah, Guerra hard throwing a right-hander. Spent 3 seasons with the Dodgers in their bullpen.
Buxton misses a 95-mile-per-hour fastball. Down and in, 2-1. To the right side and through, and there's his 3-hit game. Came into the game with 3 hits and has 3 more tonight.
They caught up to that fastball, just found that hole between 1st and 2nd. Pretty straight fastball, just beats it into the ground the other way. So for Buxton, his 3rd hit. And for the Twins, their 14th.
What the Twins are trying to do, it's just nice to see the young man smile after getting off to a bit of a rough start in his first week. What the Twins are trying to do with Buxton, and we may have evidence tonight that they are succeeding. And it's kind of an odd concept when you think about it, because the game is quicker and faster up here. Yet you hear managers, hitting coaches, pitching coaches, they all talk about a player needing to slow things down, when because things are quicker and faster up here. There's a high fly deep down the left field line. Gone. A home run for Brian Dozier. 4th home run of the night for the Twins.
Home run number 14 on the year for Brian Dozier. First time this season Twins have had 4 home runs in a ball game.
That was a moonshot.
Well, we have seen where Brian likes that pitch. Just get it up and get me inside, and I'll open up quickly. And a 2-run home run for Brian Dozier. 13-2 Twins lead.
Shane Robinson hitting in what was Joe Mauer's spot. At one point, the White Sox had a 2-1 lead. 1-1.
That home run measured at 385 feet.
Robinson checks his swing. It's 2-1. Right field line and chased by Shutt. And he did not make the play. It hit the wall, the top of the wall, knocked it out of his glove.
Well, Shutt kind of glided over there. We have a bad angle here, but let's take a look right here. He's in foul territory.
Just muffed it.
Just missed it, yeah. Sometimes you nonchalant You think, okay, I've got it, but he knew the wall was close.
A swinging bunt. And somehow the White Sox get the out. Guerra was stumbling to the ground as he got rid of the throw, and then he threw low to Abreu, who dug it out.
Yeah, a couple times in this ball game we've seen Abreu make this nice little catch right there on the short hop.
One down in the 8th, and now Herman hitting in what was Hunter's spot. Strike one. Royals have a 3-1 lead over King Felix and the Mariners in the 3rd inning.
Well, there's a club too, Seattle, that really hasn't lived up to their potential going into the season.
You think of the Oakland A's as really struggling. The Mariners are only 2 games better. 6 games below the 500 mark.
They were projected to be right there at the top. Not saying that they won't be at the end of the year, but just things are hitting the ball at all. They're hitting .231 as a team, the worst in the American League.
2 games ahead of Oakland, but only 3 behind the Angels. But the Angels are nothing more than a 500 team right now. Herman swings and misses, strikes out for the 2nd out.
Like a split finger right there. Good pitch.
4 long balls for the Twins tonight.
Yeah, again, first time this year Twins have hit 4 home runs in the ball game. It started with Joe Mauer in the 4th inning, and then later in the inning, Nunez with a 2-run home run. Kenny Vargas, a big 3-run home run in the 5-run 6th inning. And then we just saw Brian Dozier with a 2-run home run.
Things figure to get tougher for the Twins in the balance of this series. Jeff Samardzija starting for the White Sox tomorrow. And then Chris Sale on Wednesday. Check swing and a strike, 1-1 to Plouffe.
Yeah, Mike Pelfrey and then Phil Hughes facing those two. Pelfrey's and both these guys have been throwing the ball well.
Beat Sale twice this year. And something that I'm sure Chris remembers quite well. He would love to.
Oh yeah, a little payback.
Mm-hmm. 1-2 to Plouffe. 2 gone here in the Twins' 8th. Tap to the right side. Sanchez has it. Twins had 2 more that they had better not need as we go to the 9th inning.
Twins are enjoying a comfortable 13-2 lead here in the top of the ninth inning at Target Field. Coming up after the game, we'll look at how the Twins broke out big bats tonight, scoring 13 runs on 15 hits, plus 4 homers for the Twins for the first time this season. And Tommy Milone didn't have his best stuff, but he was steady through 6. We'll look at his outing, plus hear from manager Paul Molitor, whom I'm guessing Dick and Bert may comment on the all-around play of one Byron Buxton tonight.
Yeah, I suspect there's a real good chance of that. 1-0. We'll be listening attentively. Adam Eaton takes one in the dirt. 2-0. It actually hit him, I guess. So Graham starts the ninth inning by hitting Eaton somewhere in the foot area.
Yeah, last time Twins have hit 4 home runs in a ball game, you have to go back to August 22nd of last year against the Tigers. Take a look where this pitch hits him. Actually bounced and hit him.
Bonifacio ahead. Graham struggling with his control here in the ninth. Fox Tracks presented by Carrier.
Well, you can see the velocity at 96. I mean, the guy can throw that baseball, but it's just a control issue.
Fouled back.
You know, when he grabs that ball back, he kind of puts that ball into that split finger type mode, but the only time you can really throw that, I would have to say he would, is when he gets ahead in the count, but he has a tough time getting ahead in the count.
Off speed pitch missing.
Baby steps for Graham in his rookie season.
Suzuki's having a tough 8th and 9th inning here behind the plate. Graham has got a 11-run lead, and the Twins not only don't want to bring in another relief pitcher, they don't want to even warm one up.
And you don't want Chicago to put some runs on the board. I mean, they feel bad right now, 13-2. You don't want them to put up a crooked number here.
86 and a swing and a miss.
Well, first 2 batters got on in the 8th inning off of Graham. He's able to get a strikeout and a double play ball.
Plouffe catches the line drive, 1 away. We get another one of these tomorrow. Don't know about the outcome, but what's next brought to you by Century Link, and it is Jeff Samardzija going for the White Sox and Mike Pelfrey for the Twins. Jose Abreu will bat. Toronto beat Tampa Bay 8-5. Detroit beat Cleveland 8-5. Might be a double play grounder. Nice pickup by Plouffe. And that takes care of it. Another convincing win for the Twins over the White Sox. They played better in the field. They pitched better. They hit for more power. And Anthony LaPanta, the Twins have some sort of a run on the White Sox here at Target Field this year.
Run on the White Sox, a run against John Danks. Minnesota breaks out, and the slumping bats explode for 13 runs, including 4 long balls. We'll show you how they broke out, how Tommy Milone delivered another steady outing, and hear from Paul Molitor next.